Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So we are live on Zoom and we are live on YouTube. So thank you, everyone, for coming to this new pNetwork community call. I'm Alice, and I manage operations and the pNetwork growth for pNetwork, of course. And here with me, we have Thomas, who's our project lead at pNetwork, and he manages pretty much all things pNetwork. So thank you for being here with us. We have many newcomers who joined recently the pNetwork community, attracted by the newest SafeMoon bridge we have released just yesterday. So welcome and thank you for being here. We'll discuss the SafeMoon bridge later in this call, but first I just wanted to share a brief introduction of the bridge with you guys. So pNetwork is a cross-chain system enabling the frictionless movement of assets, NFTs, and data across multiple blockchain ecosystems. Currently, pNetwork supports more than 50 bridges across 10 different blockchain ecosystems. This includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and many other blockchains. pNetwork specifically supports integrations with blockchains, sidechains, and Ethereum layer 2 solutions. So it's an all-around solution for cross-chain connections and moving assets, NFTs, and data around. pNetwork's total value locked is increasing, and we are currently at $65+ million in total value locked within pNetwork. This means that we do have that pNetwork powers cross-chain connections for assets for a value of $65+ million, and we are constantly growing. So we aim to keep growing. And actually, we have recently reached a milestone on this matter because our biggest and most active bridge, which is PBTC on Ethereum, connecting Bitcoin with the Ethereum network, has actually surpassed the 1,000 Bitcoins locked within the system for that specific bridge. So we are very happy about that, and we are looking forward to growing even more. Over the last 90 days, pNetwork has processed the cross-chain transactions for $450+ million US. This is made possible by pNetwork nodes that play a key role in the pNetwork ecosystem, since they enable cross-chain interactions for users and apps across all of the ecosystems that pNetwork is currently supporting. Among pNetwork's ecosystems, among pNetwork projects in our ecosystem that have integrated P tokens or another of pNetwork's main features, we do have Bitfinex that is currently supporting deposits and withdrawals directly for Ethereum and EOS via pNetwork for a variety of assets. Similarly, Binance supports deposits and withdrawals via pNetwork for PNT for the Binance Smart Chain. And finally, KuCoin supports the deposit and withdrawals for TILOS, again for Ethereum via pNetwork. So we are looking to growing even more the range of assets and the range of projects, more traditional projects such as exchanges supporting pNetwork. As for the more decentralized financial world, we do have integrations with major players across multiple ecosystems. Among those, pNetwork's P tokens such as PBTC are supported, for example, on Curve Finance, PancakeSwap, DeFiBox, and Uniswap. So you can find them there and trade or use them as collateral, use them for lending, on projects like Pizza Swap and many others. P tokens are also supported by the Edu card, meaning that assets bridged via pNetwork can now be spent at your favorite coffee shop or wherever else in the real world. So you can now get your PBTCs on Ethereum, move them on layer 2, where the Edu card is actually working, and use them to buy coffee or pay for Netflix. So Thomas will go into this before jumping into the main topic of today's call, which is the pSafeMoon bridge, connecting SafeMoon and making SafeMoon available on Ethereum from its original chain, which is the Binance Smart Chain. So just before moving to Thomas, I just wanted to remind everyone that we have a Q&A box, and we will end this call answering all of your questions. So feel free to send us questions and we'll answer everything. Thomas, on to you.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining our community call, and thanks, Alice, for summarizing our recent developments. As she was anticipating, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about a couple of topics. So one topic is the one of the Edu card. So the Edu card that Alice was mentioning is like a Visa debit card. I actually have it here in my hand, and this is the purple one, the VIP one. But there are different tiers, so you can get the base card, which is like blue, or the VIP, which is this purple one, or the black, which is black. And the way it works is quite unique, because basically we call it DeFi debit card. What does it mean? What does it mean? How can a debit card be, have anything to do with decentralized finance? Well, basically, it's built in a way that you can stay in control of your crypto funds. So you can hold Bitcoin, ETH, whatever. And basically, just at the moment you tap your card to pay for coffee or something at the restaurant or anything, the grocery store and so on, basically the system securely pulls the funds from your wallet so that you can spend and convert to fiat, let's say, just the crypto you have in your wallet and you want to spend, right? This is quite interesting because it supports P tokens. And since assets are like the interesting assets that you may want to hold live on different blockchains, having something like the pNetwork enables you to basically wrap them from the different blockchains, have them represented on, say, Ethereum, and spend them in a wrapped form. So this is also the case for potentially for SafeMoon, right? Like SafeMoon, which is like the hot topic today, is like a bridge we have recently started, meaning yesterday, so 24 hours ago. And basically the way it works is that from the native SafeMoon that you have on BSC, on the Binance Smart Chain, you can wrap it so that it gets represented on Ethereum as a P token, as we call it. So it has the P prefix, meaning it comes from the pNetwork, and it is pSafeMoon, right? So why, one of the frequently asked questions that we have seen people keep asking is, why would I ever move SafeMoon from BSC to Ethereum? I'm fine here, right, on BSC. Why do I need to go to it? Well, there are several reasons, but the most important is that it's good to have options. And there are some options available on Ethereum which are not available on BSC. And the truth is also opposite, but SafeMoon is already available on BSC. So let's just try to dive deeper into the new opportunities and the new possibilities that are opened up by the existence of something like, a bridge version of SafeMoon, like pSafeMoon. And one is potentially this one. So currently it's not supported yet by the Edu card, but maybe in the future it could support, spending pSafeMoon with your debit card. So it would enable you, to hold SafeMoon tokens and to basically sell a small fraction of your SafeMoon tokens just when you need, meaning just, for example, when it's time to, to pay your monthly rent. or things like that. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to mention the Educard. I think there is a potential also in the context of new P tokens we are adding to the bridges. And the last one has been SafeMoon, but we are adding many others from many different blockchains. So in general, having the possibility to spend potentially any token via this card opens up to many possibilities that before were not really viable in any way, and you were restricted to just the major tokens being spendable via a crypto debit card. Now this is quite different, not to mention the cashback and many other advantages, but now I will not dive. I mean, it's not the topic of today's call. If you're interested in the Educard, Alice can maybe share a link in the chat so that they know where to find more. And something else that I wanted to dive into as for recent developments is like a perfect fit for today's call, because it's like something that may sound a little bit technical. So if you're not technical, bear with us for 3 or 4 minutes. It will not last long. You will not suffer much, but it will be super interesting for you to understand why SafeMoon was such an interesting integration for the pNetwork, and why the pNetwork is a perfect fit for bridging SafeMoon to other blockchains. And this is a feature we support, which is called metadata support. So metadata support is basically the possibility to send data along with value when you wrap or unwrap a token across different blockchains. So this may sound to you extremely boring and uninteresting, but I will show you now a couple of examples on why this is interesting, and how it can actually lead to use cases that people care about. And then later, I will ask Greg, who has just joined us, to explain us a little bit more on how this metadata support works and what's possible with it, if he has any idea on what other use cases that may be adapted, that may be enabled by this metadata support, or in general, why he feels this metadata support is interesting. Now, I will just dive into a couple of use cases that we have already released. So they are live and running. You can see them, you can touch them, you can use them. And those are use cases that, as I said, are very important, and that are enablers that other cross-chain bridges wouldn't be able to support yet. So one is the cross-chain bridge for NFTs. This is something we have released a few weeks ago, also along with our partners at Chain Guardians. And what we have done is basically enabling NFTs that live on a blockchain, such as Ethereum, to be wrapped into an equivalent NFT with the same properties, which lives on a different blockchain. So you lock an NFT, say you get a Chain Guardian or a CryptoKitty, anything like that. You could wrap it on Ethereum and you could move it. You can get basically a p-tokenized, let's say, NFT on the Binance Smart Chain, for instance, so that you can trade it there. Why? Maybe because you want to transfer it at a fraction of the gas costs of Ethereum in this case. But in general, also the opposite may be useful. Let's say you have an NFT on BSC and you want to move it to Ethereum because you want to, I don't know, trade it on OpenSea or on other big marketplaces that are integrated with Ethereum. Even in that case, it may make sense to wrap it from BSC so that you can have it and transfer it on ETH. And in that case, you can always be redeemed back for the original NFT on the original blockchain. It's just equivalent, but it may be this new wrapped version may be more convenient to transfer, trade, or anything like that. So this is one use case that under the hood is using metadata support. And the other one is, guess what? The SafeMoon bridge, right? So the SafeMoon bridge we have recently launched is indeed using metadata support. So why? Because we didn't just want to wrap SafeMoon from BSC to ETH. We also wanted to ensure people kept getting reflections from BSC. Otherwise, there will be a very small, very poor incentive for people to wrap it on Ethereum, because by holding it on Ethereum, you wouldn't see your balance increasing, right? So this will be a big problem, and basically no one would use that bridge. But actually, thanks to the metadata support, we could design it in a way that reflections still accrue on the Ethereum side, and basically they propagate from BSC to Ethereum. So this is possible thanks to this feature called metadata support again, which the pNetwork is quite unique in having available already. Now, let's see if Greg wants to add anything on how this metadata thing works, just briefly from a high level, so that everyone can understand. And if you have any idea, also I would be curious myself to know how this metadata feature could be used for other kinds of use cases, since we have designed it in a way that basically anyone can build anything on top of it. So we have built this NFT bridge, this SafeMoon bridge, but many other things could potentially be made, right? Be built on top.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the original idea of the metadata was literally metadata. So if you're going to take a token from one chain and move it to another chain, there's going to be a bunch of data that will be lost on that subsequent chain, such as who originally sent this transaction, maybe what was the original transaction ID on the other chain. And this is something that the p-tokenized chain is never going to have access to. And this sort of limited you in terms of what you might be able to build wallet-wise, DApp-wise, and all sorts. So we originally intended, hey, let's create some metadata and actually bundle that up and package it across along with the token. And in NFT's case, it makes sense as to why that would be useful. But we realized in doing so, we could make it more extensible further by allowing the user to also supply the extra data, and that would go along with that metadata. So the metadata sort of wraps around that. And in doing that, we called them portals, and we've originally got a couple of portals that are running, and all sorts. Another chap, Alessandro, in our company has been doing those. But the scope of things you can build using these portals is like kind of beyond. The limit is your imagination. It depends on what you want to do. We're talking like cross-chain wallets that like know exactly what's happening, and the dApps that can be built on that. Like the sky's the limit. I mean, just anything. And then when it came to the SafeMoon thing, as we started to look into how the mechanics of SafeMoon work with the way that your balances change as other people transfer and what have you, we realized it was the perfect fit to use the metadata to allow that information, because it is a sort of metadata, to go across chain, which, as Thomas pointed out, means that your SafeMoon wrapped version on another chain has just exactly the same reflections of the growing balance on that subsequent chain. And at the risk of going in a little bit too deep, that was quite complex in the way we had to like wrap up the information we needed from the BSC side, the original SafeMoon chain, into the metadata so that it can then cross the bridge. And then we had to write on the other side, the smart contracts had to be even smarter than normal to unwrap that metadata and actually do various maths on the mechanics of the underlying wrap token to reflect the reflections. So it was really interesting from a technical standpoint. And we can't really go into it much more because I'm not sure the strength technical wise of you guys, but it was pretty fascinating to work on.
Excellent. Thanks, Greg, for explaining that. I think it was quite interesting to hear it from you, since you have worked on it firsthand. Yeah, so this SafeMoon bridge that we have just launched yesterday is already getting quite a lot of attention. In the first day, we have already seen more than 1,000 users that have actually transacted with pSafeMoon on Ethereum, and most of them have done it via the bridge. So they have done it by actually going, in many cases, for their first time from one blockchain to the other, right? So testing this cross-chain experience for the first time and seeing, what it meant to actually, get a token you already have on a native blockchain, on the blockchain where it was first created, and wrapping it to get a representation of that same token on the other blockchain. So to answer to one of the most frequently asked questions, probably the very first one, people keep asking, like, so what does it mean for the supply of SafeMoon? Does it increase the supply of SafeMoon on BSC? Well, if you think about it, it surely doesn't, because you are not creating any new SafeMoon token. You are simply locking some SafeMoon tokens on BSC into a special contract that basically is safeguarding them so that they cannot really move around. And the pNetwork is issuing a representation of those locked tokens that lives on Ethereum. So while the supply on Ethereum keeps changing depending on how much collateral, let's say, you have locked on BSC, the supply of SafeMoon on BSC never changes. So the supply of SafeMoon always stays the same, while the supply of pSafeMoon is always equal to the amount of SafeMoon tokens that have been bridged over to Ethereum. So assuming just theoretically, that no one was to ever use the bridge, it would mean that the supply of pSafeMoon would be zero, right? Meaning no one has brought any token from BSC to Ethereum. While in the opposite situation, you will have, assuming every single SafeMoon token from BSC would get wrapped onto ETH, you would see basically the pSafeMoon supply on Ethereum matching the SafeMoon supply on BSC. But what would happen on BSC? Well, in that case, you will see on BSC just one token holder for the SafeMoon token, which is basically the special contract that pNetwork is using to safeguard this collateral, right? While you will see many token holders on ETH. So of course, these are all extreme situations. None of this will likely happen. But what we are seeing today is that there is a supply of pSafeMoon, which is growing as people are pegging in more tokens from BSC to ETH. But it could also decrease over time, right? Or it just keeps changing. So if you monitor it on Etherscan, for instance, you can see that it keeps changing and it keeps evolving, and that it's not fixed. The one you can see on BSC scan for the BSC blockchain so the SafeMoon supply, as you can see, is always the same, doesn't change. So you don't need to worry. We haven't diluted SafeMoon or created any risk for your SafeMoon on BSC. This bridge enables you to potentially move some of your SafeMoon tokens to ETH. You don't have to. It's like an option to be able to access a wider DeFi ecosystem. Maybe you want to interact with both BSC and ETH. And creating bridges, in our opinion, is all about opening up new possibilities. And the more blockchains we interconnect, the more possibilities will be available for token holders of every single token, including SafeMoon, right? Just to explain you like the implications of this. Let's say you are a user that from Asia who is familiar with EOS. EOS is very popular in Asia. So it's very it's one of the blockchains that is getting more interest from Asia in that case. So I think it's quite interesting as an example. Let's say that as SafeMoon, you want to target the Asian community. In that case, you either need to convince them to move to BSC and familiarize themselves with BSC and with those kind of concepts so that they can, potentially buy SafeMoon or things like that, or trade SafeMoon or be part of the SafeMoon community. Or you could just support with a bridge from SafeMoon BSC to pSafeMoon on EOS, such bridge, so that, if they don't come to you, you come, where they are. And basically pSafeMoon becomes, available on EOS, being a potential token that they could buy or interact with straight from EOS without going abroad, right? So it's all about really, again, opening up new possibilities, new interactions, and it's something that technically we call composability, like being able to pick the best from each blockchain and basically put them together, creating different things as if they were Lego bricks, right? So this is what composability is about, and our focus as pNetwork is around making a cross-chain composability reality. Like before solutions like ours, it was impossible to make projects from different blockchains interact with each other. With things like the pNetwork, it becomes simple and simpler and simpler. So our daily job is trying to continuously invent new ways for the community to do this, like to interact with the most interesting tools and tokens and platforms and teams without having to see the complexity. Because, you know, blockchains are super complex, they're super complicated. Very few people understand them in deep. Myself, I've been involved in this for almost 10 years. I still don't understand everything. No one understands everything. And I mean, I'm not surprised that new users are super confused by some of those concepts. So the way blockchains will go to the next level and will get adopted more and more by the masses is basically lowering the complexity and hiding all these, different limitations that you may have for technical reasons, for this or that. People shouldn't care, they shouldn't see this. And this is why the pNetwork is trying to enable cross-chain composability, because we want people to be able to use the token they want on the platform they like on any blockchain without having them to worry about incompatibilities or this and that. So this is what we did with pSafeMoon on ETH. And this is what we are doing in general with many of the other bridges we have. If you go to ptokens.io or to pnetwork.watch or p.network, you find all the different statistics and charts and guides, tutorials on how to use the pNetwork to move a token from one blockchain to the other. We have recently, as Alice was saying at the beginning, we have recently reached the milestone of, say, 1,000 plus Bitcoins on ETH. That basically we have wrapped on Ethereum. So we are growing on that front, and hopefully SafeMoon will keep contributing to our total value locked, as we call it, as a collateral, and hopefully we'll see new things being built on top of pSafeMoon on ETH, and then also on other blockchains. I don't want to dive too deep into the different questions from SafeMoon because I've seen there are already many. So I think these are this give us an opportunity to answer to most of the doubts that the community have. So I will stop here with this, general purpose, explanation of how the bridges work and why they are important, and why the work we are doing will simplify the interaction with different blockchains and different ecosystems. So maybe we can, if Alice and Greg if they don't want to add anything else, we can move on to the Q&A session.
I will add one thing. Speaking of the complexity and how we're hiding it, if any of you guys haven't actually used the dApp to transfer a token from one chain to the other, you absolutely have to. It's ridiculously simple, and considering you guys wouldn't see it, which is good, and that's the goal, but if you could understand the sort of machinery and the mechanics that are going on behind the scenes, it's quite amazing that our front end guys have got this dApp working so smoothly and so quickly. So get on that and get using it.
Agreed. In fact, I mean, you may be familiar with the Uniswap interface or the PancakeSwap interface, and basically using the pTokens dApp and moving assets across blockchains from a user perspective is literally like doing a trade or a swap on Uniswap or PancakeSwap. So it's very simple to use, yet in the background there are many inner workings.
Excellent. So let's start now to collect some questions from the different channels. I would start from the ones we have here on Zoom. So let me pick some. Maybe I can redistribute some of those to Alice and Greg. Let's see. Okay, so this is one question that I've seen people have posted on several channels. Like currently, you can, if you are listening, if you're watching us and you want to ask questions, you can do it here on Zoom. You can do it on YouTube comments. We'll try to catch your questions. And also on Telegram, you can do it both in the pNetwork group, in the international group of pNetwork, and in the SafeMoon one. We'll try to collect questions from all these different channels And yeah, hopefully we'll not skip any. So let's see, one of this first one I see here has been asked on several of those channels, so I'm sure a lot of people want to know. And it's about the SafeMoon tax, and the question is about understanding the applicability of the SafeMoon tax when using the bridge. Like, when do you pay this 10% tax on transfers? Do you pay it? You don't? Well, how does it work? Well, I will get this. So normally for SafeMoon, every time you do a transfer, meaning you sell SafeMoon on PancakeSwap, or you buy, or you do like transfers between wallets with contracts, any transfer, you pay a 10% fee, which is called like a tax on transfers, right? So when using the bridge, you are actually wrapping your SafeMoon tokens on BSC to Ethereum. So the very first transaction you're doing is actually a transaction that is sort of pushing, in a way, your SafeMoon tokens so that they make it to the vault contract. This vault contract is just a smart contract on BSC that is safeguarding your tokens while they are bridged on Ethereum. So this is where the collateral is safeguarded. This transaction currently is subject to the transfer tax. So potentially this could be changed in the future if the SafeMoon team agrees. But right now, you are subject to this transfer fee. And so you would, if you try to wrap like 100 million SafeMoon tokens, for instance, from BSC, you would receive 10% less as P SafeMoon tokens, not because we are charging anything, but because the SafeMoon contracts on BSC do. And this is part of the token economy, right? That's part of the game. And basically, no other fee currently applies. Note that the transaction that gets sent on Ethereum for P SafeMoon to be distributed to you is actually being subsidized by the pNetwork. So you don't pay anything on that front as for the gas fees, but there are costs. But again, as we said at the beginning, our objective is to simplify things, not to make them harder. So this is one of those examples where basically there is a transaction to be sent for technical reasons. We don't even tell you. I mean, if you want to see that detail, you can, and technically it's available for everyone to monitor and see, but you don't need to know that someone is paying for that gas as long as you receive them, right? So that's why under the hood, this gets subsidized. There is a component which we call the pNetwork fee, which all bridges sort of charge, which is like a fee for this wrapping and unwrapping operations. Just for consistency, keep in mind, anyone that's listening, they should keep in mind that peg-ins and peg-outs are the way we name this wrapping and unwrapping operations. So when you wrap a token from BSC to ETH, we say you are doing a peg-in. You are pegging your like native SafeMoon token to P SafeMoon on ETH. While the opposite operation, so going back from ETH P SafeMoon to BSC SafeMoon is the peg out. Now, peg in and peg out fees charged by the pNetwork do normally apply, and they are chosen by the PNT token holders within the pNetwork DAO. So we have a DAO where our token holders of PNT, they do several things. They run pNetwork nodes, they vote, they participate to governance, and so part of the things they do is indeed voting on the pricing of the pNetwork. And currently, the latest pricing the DAO has agreed on is a 0% peg-in fee and a 0.25% peg-out fee. So normally you would have a 0% with the current pricing the DAO has voted on. You would have a 0% fee on the peg-in and 0.25, so 25 basis points on the peg-out. However, for the first 2 weeks, just as a promotion, we have decided for the P SafeMoon bridge to charge 0% fees even for peg-outs. So the tax you are actually paying is due to the token economy of SafeMoon and the SafeMoon transfer that happens under the hood, but this is not charged by us. So the pNetwork is not actually earning anything. currently from running this node. It will in the future by adding these small fees, which are not like 10%, they are smaller ones. Like normally they are between 0.1 and 0.3% if you look at what bridges normally charge. So these are the percentages that you could have in the future on top of the tax, right? But the tax is currently the only fee that you will pay. And this tax gets paid both for peg-ins and peg-outs. So when you do a peg-in, I've explained why. It's because you are basically moving to the safe vault contract on BSC, your SafeMoon tokens you originally had, and you're getting pSafeMoon on BSC. While when you unwrap them, so when you do a peg-out, if you are unwrapping 100 million SafeMoon, you would receive 10% less because the vault needs to basically release back the tokens to you. So it's sending a transaction. So the vault is actually getting deducted 100 million SafeMoon tokens, but you would receive 10% less for the same reason of the peg-in, right? Because there is a transaction. And currently, the vault contract is not whitelisted or anything, so you will need to pay that tax as for any other SafeMoon transfer. So yeah, I think I've answered to the question. Note that the pSafeMoon token, so the wrapped version of the token you have on Ethereum, is not currently is not subject to the transfer tax on Ethereum. Why? Because basically you are not transferring SafeMoon. SafeMoon tokens are still safeguarded, and they are not moving. They just stay safeguarded in the vault contract on BSC. What you are moving is like a sort of a certificate, which is saying that the pNetwork is safeguarding for you a given amount of SafeMoon tokens. So this pSafeMoon token is one-to-one pegged to SafeMoon. It's equivalent to holding SafeMoon. It lives on Ethereum. It has many nice properties, but it's not subject to the 10% transfer fee. So when you sell it on say Uniswap, or when you buy it on Uniswap, or when you transfer from one wallet to the other on ETH, you're not subject to the tax for now. Potentially, it could be added in the future within the code of pSafeMoon. But I mean, since you are not really moving SafeMoon, but you're moving pSafeMoon, it doesn't make sense, in my opinion at least, to charge that tax, because it's equivalent to having it on an exchange. Let's say that an exchange such as Binance starts a centralized exchange, not a decentralized one. Let's pick a centralized exchange such as Binance. Let's assume they list the SafeMoon, right? So if you deposit a given amount of SafeMoon tokens to Binance, of course, you will pay the tax for the transfer, and then you will get a given amount of SafeMoon like as a credit, right? So you have an IOU of Binance that is saying you have deposited a given amount of tokens. So now, if you trade them, you wouldn't pay the tax in that case. Why would you? I mean, you are not doing any real transfer of SafeMoon under the hood, right? You are just basically selling your right to withdraw SafeMoon so that the buyer will have it. So indeed, this is the same that happens with pSafeMoon. When you move pSafeMoon, you are just changing ownership of a certificate called pSafeMoon that gives you the right to withdraw SafeMoon from BSC. So this is the reason why it was like that.
So sorry, I just wanted to briefly summarize. So basically, whenever you're moving SafeMoon on Binance Smart Chain, the 10% tax applies as per the SafeMoon token economics. This includes peg-ins and peg-outs, because you move SafeMoon for pegging in and for pegging out. While when on Ethereum, it doesn't matter what you guys are doing. You can transfer or trade on Uniswap or whatever. The 10% tax doesn't apply for now. That's just, a very brief summary.
Yep. So I think, yeah, this was one of the most complex questions. Now let's check the others. So one question is, it's just a comment actually. I don't know if it's a question, but someone is saying that basically pSafeMoon, like we have pSafeMoon in it, soon we will also have support for EOS, VAX, and others, right? And yeah, that's exactly the plan. I mean, we have integrated several blockchains like EOS, Telos. We are integrating many others that I'm not allowed to share right now. But as you will see, if you keep following our channels, we are continuously adding new blockchains. Like, for instance, we have recently announced, so this is public news, an official partnership with Algorand, where Algorand will support cross-chain bridges via the pNetwork. Potentially, we could have SafeMoon on Algorand, right, or on any other blockchain that is supported. EOS is already supported, so it will be the simplest to integrate. But it requires a little bit of extra work compared to normal tokens of the of the pNetwork, because we want to support the propagation of refraction across blockchains. But beside that, the integration for pNetwork is relatively simple, and the pNetwork is really about being able to transfer a token and potentially data from a given blockchain to any other blockchain. So it's not just restricted to a specific direction or a specific bridge or anything like that. Yeah, let's see if there are other questions. So I think I just answered also to the EOS and VAX bridge one. There was a question around like when are they going to be released, basically. And what I can say is that the releasing them on EOS will be quicker, and it's actually not that complicated. So also depending on the community demand, it can be prioritized accordingly. So if you're interested in a specific bridge, for example, you really want to have them on VAX, on EOS, we are going to do it anyway. But if you voice your interest for a specific bridge, we'll surely we always listen to the community feedback, so we will prioritize things accordingly. I think this question maybe Greg can answer to. So there is someone asking, like for EOS, ETH, VAX, pSafeMoon in general, how does it work? Do you always need to move back to BSC to move from one blockchain or the other? Or how does it work? Let's say you have pSafeMoon on ETH and you want to go to EOS. How would it work? And I think, Greg, maybe I think we can share very briefly some of the differences of the pNetwork v1, which we currently have, and what will be coming in the pNetwork v2, since this will be different then.
Spoilers.
Incoming spoilers. So yeah, as Thomas has just hinted about, initially, yes, if you have pSafeMoon on Ethereum and pSafeMoon on EOS, if you wanted to go between those two, you would have to go back to the native chain, i.e. BSC in this case, and put your SafeMoon back there and then put it in a different vault, which would then bridge it over to another blockchain. This is version 1 of the networks we're creating, so that you can think of them as like these bridges are sort of unique between these like different moats around different blockchains. But as we get more advanced and move into the V2 of everything, we're hoping to enable more atomic swapping of these, so that you don't have to cross back a bridge to then hop over a different bridge, because you're going to have the same token, i.e. a pSafeMoon, which will have the same value as it would on a different chain, still not the native BSC. And it makes sense to be able to, the cross-chain bridges we have can atomically move it from one chain to another without you having to do anything involving that original chain whatsoever. Which, if you start to think about it, I mean, at this point, the word bridge starts to become not quite encompassing enough, because it's like its own layered network at this point. It's like, it's not a bridge, it's not a one-way system anymore, and it's not even a two-way system anymore. And at that point, you know, we're spreading like a web on top of everything to just move tokens to where they want to be, as frictionless as possible for the end user, and more importantly, to usually where there is more liquidity and better DeFi pools and what have you, meaning that as we increase our sort of linkages between different chains, the possibilities just become endless.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm trying to understand what question to pick next to follow logical order. So there is a question about pSafeMoon, the pSafeMoon price and value in general from a theoretical perspective. Like, should pSafeMoon be priced differently than SafeMoon or not, since they are on different blockchains? Well, that's a good question, because theoretically, what you should see is that since pSafeMoon can be redeemed back for an equal amount of SafeMoon tokens, the prices should exactly match because of arbitrageurs. So basically, they could keep they will keep prices aligned. Why? Because basically there is an opportunity to make money if prices are not aligned, since you could buy where it's cheaper and sell them where it's more expensive, right? So eventually they will stay aligned. This doesn't mean they will be always aligned in real time, though, because well, for different reasons. First of all, the market is not is not always super efficient. So if there are not trading bots in place and arbitrageurs are operating manually, it may take some time for them to notice, meaning some minutes, right? Then the bridge operation takes a few minutes. So what I normally say is that they should be aligned eventually. Like they should stay aligned in principle, but it's not something that can be guaranteed. Similarly to what happens on different exchanges, like when you have Bitcoin, for instance, listed on Binance, Bitfinex, Kraken, Coinbase, things like that, prices are not always aligned in real time. If there is a strong, for example, buy pressure for Bitcoin on a given exchange, the price of Bitcoin on that exchange may increase. And then it will take some time for the prices to get aligned, depending on the volumes of the different exchanges, on the confirmation time of the network, of the time of processing withdrawals and deposits, all these kind of logics that you find in normal markets, spot markets for Bitcoin or any other token within centralized exchanges, also apply to decentralized exchanges on different blockchains and to any market in general. So, so really, prices should be aligned. However, now let's get to the complicated part. While this is true and what I said is accurate, we need to keep in mind that arbitrageurs that wants to move tokens around are subject to the SafeMoon tax twice, because if they want, for example, let's say there is they have USD, like BUSD, USDT, I don't know, like a tokenized dollars. Let's say they have tokenized dollars on Ethereum, and that SafeMoon, for any reason, is cheaper on Ethereum than on BSC. Then what you will do is basically you would buy with dollars SafeMoon where it's cheaper, so on Ethereum, and this is not subject to any fee. You just pay the Uniswap trading fee, which is 0.3% for Uniswap V2, and basically they would buy the cheap, let's say, SafeMoon. They would transfer over to the bridge for redeeming it back to the underlying SafeMoon token, and here they lose 10%, right? Then they would sell it on PancakeSwap at a higher price, so they lose another 10% for the transfer, and then they would have again USD, USD or USDT, whatever, that they need to move back to Ethereum to go back to the initial situation. Now, the only scenario where this makes sense and the trader makes money is when basically the margin, so the profit for this whole operation is higher than the tax he will pay with SafeMoon. So if you think about it, this can be in both directions, depending on what market the price is higher. So there may be up to, in a rational market where prices stay aligned, there may be up to a difference of 20% in both directions for the price of SafeMoon on BSC and on Ethereum, for this very reason, basically because balancing it is not profitable until the difference is greater than the taxes you will pay to balance it, which is 20%. So you have this 20% uncertainty in both directions. Doesn't mean that the difference is 40%, of course. It means that the difference is up to 20% under normal circumstances. But it's hard to tell if it is 20%, if it can be 20% more expensive or cheaper, right? Because basically it depends on where the buy or sell pressure is on which one of the two blockchains. However, while this is true in theory, in practice, since the market may not be driven just by arbitrageurs, but by traders and speculators, it's very possible that the two prices just stay aligned on average, because people just, maybe, let's say you want to buy SafeMoon, maybe the price on Ethereum is just 3% lower. Maybe you would prefer buying it there with fresh liquidity. So it's really hard to tell. The only thing I can tell you is that in a rational market, the price between pSafeMoon and SafeMoon should stay aligned with a maximum difference of 20%. But it's very possible that on average prices will just be almost perfectly aligned. I don't know if what I said makes sense, or I think so. Or if anyone wants to comment it, I don't know if Alice or Greg want to say anything. But I think the reasoning makes sense, right? I was trying to reason, out loud to see myself. It made sense, and I think it's consistent. So.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I think it makes sense that we are not in a rational market.
That's the crux there. That's a big if about the rational market. But also, what's interesting about this bridge full stop is the fascinating tokenomics of it. By just bridging it over, now seeing what the market does, because this is like out of our hands now. All we've done is provide the way to move that liquidity from one chain to another, while it's reflecting the reflections of it. And now it's fascinating is to see what actually happens as the users use it, and do arbitrages pounce on it. It's really interesting to see.
Okay, let's see if there are other questions. So I will skip for now the general purpose questions on the pNetwork so that we can keep answering to the SafeMoon ones first. So the other ones I have on Zoom are just on the pNetwork. So let's see if there are
a few on the chat as well, in the Zoom chat. I copied from YouTube.
Okay, hold on.
I see one of the questions from YouTube just says, when you buy pSafeMoon on Ethereum, is it the 10% tax? So in case they missed that earlier, there's no, the SafeMoon tax doesn't apply on Ethereum because it's not actually the SafeMoon contract that's controlling it. It's our pSafeMoon contract, which doesn't have that tax.
Okay. Let me answer to some of the questions from YouTube now, and from Telegram. So from Telegram, we have a question asking what was the process to get a token bridged, just SafeMoon. So in general, if you want to move SafeMoon tokens you already have on BSC and you want to move them onto ETH, or if you have both pSafeMoon on ETH and you want to move back to BSC, the process is identical. Alice can maybe share here the link to the DApp. The DApp is basically just a portal, web portal that you can use to connect it to your wallet, and basically to exchange one-to-one your SafeMoon token to pSafeMoon token or back. It's very simple to use. You just type in the destination address for the other blockchain where you want to receive the wrapped token or the unwrapped token to, and you connect it to your wallet and you follow the the indications the portal gives you. But it's really simple. All the complexity is hidden. It may look familiar if you have ever used PancakeSwap or Uniswap, because it's we have tried to replicate that user experience since it has been so successful and it's so simple. But so using it you can try it out with the minimum amount, which at the moment is 10 million SafeMoon tokens. So it's approximately, I think, $40 or something. So it's you can give it a try with a smaller amount like this before potentially moving higher amounts, so that you can familiarize yourself with the process and see how simple it is to use. So another question is about, again, the 10%. I think we have explained it already. So 10% is not charged by us, it's charged by the SafeMoon contract. And I see there is still confusion on this point. So it's not charged by the pNetwork. And it's symmetrical. So it's charged at the moment both for peg-ins and peg-outs.
While if you buy pSafeMoon from Ethereum via Uniswap, the 10% is not charged.
Let's see if there is any other question. Okay, I think we have answered to most questions. Someone from YouTube is asking if NFTs can travel on the bridge. Well, we do have, if you go to the DApp, dap.ptokens.io, you will see there is an NFT section. And currently this supports bridging NFTs, some kind of NFTs, such as Chain Guardians and others, from Ethereum to BSC. But it can potentially be used with any NFT. So if you're interested, for example, to bridge an NFT from BSC to another blockchain, or or the opposite, or anything like that, reach out to us, let us know, and we can potentially add support for any NFT. So that's surely possible. Someone is asking, how does pSafeMoon benefit Binance Smart Chain holders in terms of reflections? Well, when you move pSafeMoon, you are not actually moving the underlying SafeMoon tokens. So that's why you don't charge a tax. If you're moving something different, right? You're moving credit, basically, like an IOU for SafeMoon tokens. And still you get reflections because the underlying collateral gets the reflections on BSC. So these reflections propagate across blockchains. Now, how does it benefit? Well, it benefits both directly and indirectly. So it benefits, so pSafeMoon moving around benefits SafeMoon holders directly, because the moment it gets more used and the price gets driven on Ethereum, for instance, arbitrageurs will make significant volumes to rebalance things out. So they will pay the fee in any case for an equivalent amount of volume, probably, of the one that was bought or sold. So basically, if, for example, there is like, say, 1 million USD worth of a purchase of pSafeMoon on ETH, and the price is pushed up, it's true that the 10% fee, the 10% tax has not been paid on Ethereum, but the arbitrageurs will need to pay it to cover for the rebalancing. So they will actually, pay 20% to rebalance, right? So eventually things balance out. And I know it's not very intuitive, but it's equivalent of charging the fee directly. It's just it basically gets charged indirectly in a way, but it still happens. Yeah. While the way it benefits SafeMoon holders indirectly is not because of the fee, but it's because of the increased utility. Like being able to use SafeMoon, for example, I don't know, maybe eventually it will be accepted as a collateral, things like Compound, Aave, or many others, or maybe, you can use it to borrow something, or, you could do a number of things with DeFi. Maybe you can spend it again with the Edu debit card directly with pSafeMoon, things like that. Increase utility of pSafeMoon, so they increase the utility of SafeMoon as well. So they make it in a way more special, more useful, and probably more valuable in a way. Let's see if there are other when you exchange. Okay. Yeah, we can do Matic as well. I see something someone is asking. So potentially the bridge, we have bridges with Polygon, it used to be called Matic as well. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Let's do a last round of checks for questions around SafeMoon, and then we'll move on to the questions I've seen around PNT and the pNetwork. So someone is asking if you can use Trust Wallet with the bridge for SafeMoon, and do you just add pSafeMoon as a custom token? Well, I must say I'm sorry, because yesterday we have spotted a small bug in the DApp that prevented Trust Wallet to be connected to the DApp on BSC via Wallet Connect. So if yesterday you tried to use Wallet Connect from Trust Wallet and the DApp, it maybe you got your page stuck or something. This was fixed like 12 hours ago or something. So if you can try again, the way it works is that basically from Trust Wallet, you need to go to the Wallet Connect section and follow the instructions. On the DApp, you do the same. You just do Connect Wallet and choose Wallet Connect. This will enable your Trust Wallet to get connected to the DApp. And subsequently, you will be able to, follow the instructions for the peg-ins, peg-outs, and everything will work smoothly, similarly to when you use MetaMask, right? It's exactly the same process. It's just the connection to the wallet bit that's slightly different, but it's a very simple process once it works. So if yesterday you didn't get it to work, it was not your fault. Sorry about that. It works now. And thanks for reporting for, I don't know who reported it, but I know there were 2 or 3 users reporting it. Thanks. Okay. I think I've already answered to the supply difference and to the fee, so I will not answer it again. The video has been recorded and it's also available on YouTube. So you can go back and check during the previous answers if you're interested. Okay, I think let me do one last check. Okay, there is one last question. So this is the very last one for SafeMoon. Since normally these calls that we do bi-weekly or every now and then, they last approximately 1 hour. So we try to stay within 1 hour so that everyone can get better organized. So how do reflections work on pSafeMoon? Does it gain reflections from each side only? Well, basically every time there is a peg-in, so every time someone wraps like SafeMoon tokens from BSC to ETH to generate pSafeMoon, the reflections accrued by the collateral on BSC gets propagated to Ethereum. So what does it mean? I think this was an extremely complex explanation. Long story short, you do get reflections on Ethereum as if you were on BSC. And that's it, right? So basically, if you just hold SafeMoon, you get it. You see it increasing every block on BSC. If you hold the pSafeMoon, you see it increasing not every block, but every few minutes, very frequently, depending on how often the bridge gets used. So if the bridge gets used once per hour, you will see the reflection updating once per hour. If the bridge gets used every few minutes, just now there is typically one peg-in or peg-out operation every couple of minutes, you see the reflections updating every couple of minutes. So if the bridge is successful, which mostly depends on you, on the community, then reflections are pretty much instantaneous. Okay. So yeah, that's it for the SafeMoon questions. Now, there are 3 or 4 questions around the pNetwork. So we'll see if there is, so maybe Greg could answer to the question around the pNetwork node. So how does it work to run a pNetwork node? If you can say something about that, just as a reminder before Greg answers, pNetwork nodes are like the component that keeps the pNetwork safe, and basically anyone can register a node. And why would you do it? Because if you spin up a node and register it in the pNetwork DAO, you earn in 2 different ways. So first you need to register it. Sorry, I forgot. You need to stake 200,000 PNT tokens. So once you do that, first you start accruing the DAO rewards, which are distributed every 2 weeks, and they give you a 42% APY. Second, thanks to your service for the network, you get rewarded with every 2 weeks again, with like Bitcoin, Litecoin, SafeMoon tokens, eventually all the tokens that get get used with bridges, thanks to the peg-in and peg-out fees that get charged. So right now we have on most bridges 0.25% peg-out fee. These fees gets collected and redistributed to all pNetwork nodes. So what is a pNetwork node? How do I become a pNetwork node? On to you, Greg. You are muted, Greg.
Well spotted. Yeah, just saying, your description is pretty much as far as I know personally, having only run them from the lower level. So in terms of the end user case, like, I don't actually know so well.
So maybe I can give some instructions. So Greg has he is the lead developer for pToken Score, which is basically the core component of the pNetwork that enables bridges to work. So he's basically the one in charge of simplifying most of the complex part, which is getting the bridge to work and do its job under the hood without having you to interact with several transactions or complex stuff. You just send one transaction, and then this pToken Score does all the rest. So this is what nodes execute, and this gets executed on a special machine on a trusted execution environment, and anyone can spin up one of those machines. Running it doesn't cost much. It's like approximately 150, 200 bucks per month or something like that. And actually, last month, nodes accrued in fees more than $100,000 worth of fees. So it's definitely a profitable operation right now. And basically, if you want to spin up a node, you should go on docs.p.network. Maybe Alice can add the link in the chat and follow the instructions. And basically, it's very simple. There is a utility called pCli that does everything for you. So basically, you just follow the instructions there. It's a simple tutorial, and the node gets spinned up. So basically, Greg didn't know the answer because there is nothing to do. You just go there and follow the guide, and it's literally doesn't take more than 20 minutes. And in those 20 minutes, the time you need, I mean, you actually need to spend a couple of minutes out of those 20 because all the rest is automated stuff going on under the scene. You don't need to do anything. Everything is automated, and the node gets spinned up following that tutorial.
This is interesting to know because when Thomas is saying about everything that gets spun up behind the scenes, when you run it, it's that manual spinning up of all the pieces that I would normally do, since I'm usually working on like single elements of it to make sure that part's working and so on. So I hadn't realized we'd actually reached that point of orchestration. So I'll be looking into that.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens with pCli, that basically spins up everything. And it handles updates, and there is a nice control panel you can use to see if there are updates or if there is anything to do, if everything is in sync, if you have registered your node or not, and things like that. Okay, let's see if there are other questions. Well, and to better answer to the question, which was actually interested in knowing if the node was to be run on your PC. No, it's not running on your PC. So it's being managed from your PC, but it's actually spinning up a dedicated machine in the cloud, which is actually a special kind of machine, which is provably safe, as we say, meaning that it's using a technique called a trusted execution environment. So this is super complex. Go on Google for TE, trusted execution environment, and you will find out what it is. Or if you're interested, come to our Telegram group and ask questions there, so you will know better how we secure the pNetwork even in this early stage. There is a question around how our solution compares with others. And I mean, we could speak about this for half an hour. I will just give some short points that you can see yourself to basically draw your own conclusions. So one of these is the fact that things like the NFT bridge or the SafeMoon bridge were made possible by the pNetwork just because it supports metadata, which is something quite advanced that most bridges don't support at the moment. So it's possible to create much more complex cross-chain applications and implement use cases across blockchains, such as this one, where you propagate reflections and things like that, thanks to the flexibility of the pNetwork. Another one is the fact that we are probably the fastest growing bridge as for number of integrations. And we can integrate so many different blockchains because of the flexibility of the system we have designed. So the system we have designed can easily integrate with any blockchain. It's not tied to UTXO model or to an Ethereum only blockchains. It can be used with any blockchain. And that's why we integrated so early things like Bitcoin, EOS, and Ethereum, right? Because they are so different under the hood, technically speaking, that integrating them was super interesting to prove that such level of flexibility could be obtained via our architecture. So so this is like yet another example. And also something else which is super interesting, I think, is that in the upcoming pNetwork v2, it's you can actually move any asset from any blockchain to any other blockchain without having us to spin up bridges individually, which is something that still other bridges don't support. And again, last but not least, you don't need to add liquidity pools here and there for the bridge to work. It can just work by itself for any token, even if you have small liquidity pools, or you don't need to constrain liquidity, which I think is very important for bridges to be viable and to enable new use cases. Because if you wait for liquidity may restrict the creation of some use cases, maybe end up being successful. So it's very important that first the technology enables something, and then you create stuff to attract users. The opposite doesn't really work that well, right? You will need first to know that users want. It's like expecting that users know exactly what product they want to use. What we have seen, I think, in the last 20 years of IT in general is that you need to show to users the product they would like to use, and then they can tell you if it matches their expectations. But it's not, if you ask users, if you were to ask users what they wanted in the 18th century, they would have never told you they wanted a car. They would have told you they wanted a fasted horse, right? So that's exactly why you shouldn't listen to users for new ideas, but you should be an innovator and create new things, break existing standards and things that are normally being done, and innovate. And then if your innovation is right, solves a problem, is simple to use, and enables new things, then users will come. And last but not least, with p-tokens, differently than many other users, we have the first crypto debit card that you can use today in stores, that would enable any kind of token to be spendable, and potentially even be safe on one day. So yeah, I think I've answered to everything.
There's a question asking what is PNT. I think this is from someone coming from the SafeMoon community. So pNT is our project token for pNetwork, and it is valuable and used within our ecosystem because it's used, for example, for governance. So you can participate in shaping the future of pNetwork by voting with pNT tokens within the pNetwork DAO. It is also used for running nodes, so to actually support pNetwork's growth and the pNetwork ecosystem. And I mean, it is also used within a variety of yield farming initiatives across blockchains. At the moment, we do have active ones for pNT on both Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. And I mean, finally, pNT is used within our ecosystem, and it is a key component of it. It is also used for accessing the eDO card. So as we mentioned, eDO is the project we collaborate with, and it's part of the pNetwork ecosystem. So you can actually spend pNT through the eDO card, as well as actually order and get a card by staking pNT tokens. So in general, it has a lot of value within the pNetwork ecosystem. And it also, because we want an engaged community, we decided to give rewards and incentives for the community and for pNT holders to stay engaged and participate within the network. So for example, whenever you vote with your pNT tokens, you get 42% rewards across 1 year. Or for example, when running nodes, you get rewards by the transaction fees paid by users. So there are a lot of use cases for PNT within the pNetwork ecosystem, and we are aiming on bringing in more and more use cases for it as well in the future. I see there's also another question around what kind of partnerships and new integrations we plan on working on in the future, if there's a roadmap. So we do have a roadmap on our website, that's pNetwork, and you can find it in the project section. So in general, our roadmap is on growing the ecosystem, both in terms of making the system more and more decentralized, by encouraging community participation, and by evolving the system over time. As well as we really want to follow the market and follow market trends and evolve along with the market. As all of you know, I mean, 1 year ago, this market was completely different compared to what it is today, and same it was 3 years ago, and so on. So we don't want to, you know, be strict on what we want to do with the pNetwork, but we want for it to be flexible. And because it has a flexible design and it is a flexible product, we want for it to grow along with the market. So we do have a roadmap, but mainly we take decision based also on community feedback and on where the market is going. This is why we do have the pNetwork DAO. That's a big part of the community, and it enables the community and everyone within the pNetwork ecosystem to participate in the success of pNetwork itself. So in terms of new integrations, yes, we are actually working at the moment with Algorand on a series of bridges for their ecosystem. So this is already announced, but we are working on it, and it will probably be released in Q3 this year. It's planned for Q3 this year. Along with it, we are working on other blockchain integrations that I cannot share yet, but we have many things in the workings.
Amazing. Cool. So thanks everyone for joining and for asking those questions. There were some that were really interesting. So I hope you will keep following our channels on Telegram, and that you will keep like joining these community calls, as we will dive deeper into you know, how things are going, new developments, new bridges, and new potential integrations and ideas for, you know, expanding cross-chain composability going forward. So thanks everyone again. Thanks Greg and Alice, and have a